Ryan Jarrell here for Between Rounds Radio, and my next guest will face Bruno Oliveira at LFA 98 on January the 29th, and it is Josh Fremd on the show. Josh, how are you?
What's up, man? I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Good. Well, happy to have you on the show, and it's been a busy time of year. The holidays just passed us. How was your Christmas and New Year?
Oh man, my Christmas and New Year was fantastic. I didn't go home for Christmas this year. I went home for Thanksgiving, because I knew, I just had a feeling I'd have a fight lined up sometime. So I kept Christmas to myself, and I just trained through Christmas. I just hung out with my dogs, had a pretty good time.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have a pit boxer mix named Odin, and I have a purebred German Shepherd named Riker.
Very cool. I'm a dog lover myself, so
Yep.
dogs they're the best. Now, during the holidays, do you struggle with, food and trying to avoid it when you're in camp? I mean, I know some fighters, have to stop looking at some foods. Is that something that you have an issue with?
No, not so much. I know I used to. When I lived in Pennsylvania, I really had a problem staying low with my weight in between fights and whatnot. But ever since moving out here to Denver, I my metabolism is through the roof. Like I eat so much just to stay, a little bit heavy, and I'm always walking around light out here. I'll eat whatever I want out here, knock on wood when I get older. It doesn't work like that, but yeah, it's pretty good. I don't stuff my face too much with junk food anymore anyway. I try and keep a steady, healthy diet. And, I didn't go home for Christmas, so I didn't really have all that temptation of my grandma's cookies or anything. So I was good.
There you go. What's the heaviest you get nowadays? If you're not in like full-fledged camp, like what's the biggest you can get?
Uh, I think the heaviest I was, well, like after my last fight, was probably 207. And I used to push 220 in between fights. So I'm staying low, I'm staying lean, so I can just be ready at a moment's notice.
That's good to hear. How have you adjusted since moving out to Colorado? Because I know you're from the Pennsylvania area. So what has that transition been like?
Oh man, it's been great. I hit a couple hurdles. Moving out here. When you move to a different state, you have to a bunch of things like health insurance and different things you have to figure out. I had a couple bumps with that, but overall, I love it out here. I am from the East Coast, but I feel like my mentality is more, West culture. I'm laid back. I'm real calm, and everyone that I know from the East Coast, is always on edge, always ready to go. But I'm too chill of a person, so I've adjusted pretty well out here.
That's good. I'm from the East Coast myself. I'm from New England. I was going to mention
I
because
see that Tom Brady's back there, bro.
I put that one up just for you because in doing my preparation, there you go. I knew you were a Steelers fan, so I had to show my loyalty to my team. You guys are doing pretty good this year. We're not. How do you feel you're going to
Hey,
do in the playoffs?
hey, yeah, we're gonna get in. Unfortunate for New England because I'm a huge Cam Newton fan. I was hoping that would go well, but hey, Tom Brady's doing wonderful things right now, so you can't hate a legend.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, Tampa Bay's kind of like that NFC team that I'm secretly cheering for. I mean, I'm a Patriots fan till I die, but it's hard not to root for Brady when he did what he did, as long
Oh
as he.
yeah, oh yeah, big time. He had a huge impact on that area, so you gotta give respect where it's due.
No doubt. Now, were you a former football player?
Yes, yeah, I played in high school. I played a little bit in college. I wanted to go, to the NFL. I wanted to chase that dream, but I found fighting, and I thought it was just, it was more on me. I didn't have to depend on anyone else, and that really drew me to it because I was a receiver and I was a kicker, and being a receiver, you always have to depend on certain other things, and especially yourself. But with wrestling and with MMA, it was more of just if you mess up, it's your fault and your fault alone. So I was really drawn to that.
Obviously, the training and everything that you have to do for MMA and football are totally different, but the physicality, in a sense, is similar in some regards. How can you compare the physicality of those two sports? Because a lot of people, when you look at the big sports nowadays, those two, and maybe hockey, if you throw that in there, are considered like the most violent.
Yeah, I mean, I was just joking with my girl about this the other day. I'm happy I didn't go the football route because you see these guys who are pushing 250, 300, like top level athletes running 4.4s. Like, you don't want to get hit by those guys going at that speed. I'd rather get punched by Francis Ngannou than take a Ray Lewis hit over the middle. You know what I mean? So, it's I love the physicality. There's the physicality in both of them, and I appreciate both of them, and that's what I really thrive on. That physicality.
Yeah, that's a scary proposition, getting punched by Ngannou or hit by Ray Lewis. Is there a third option? Is there an option C? Because I don't want either A or B.
Probably, taking a board check from Mario Lemieux, like up against the board, that would not feel good either. Or
Yeah.
anyone in hockey, honestly, that would just suck.
All three, yeah, no, thank you. Let's talk about 2020 for you. It's been a weird year. It was very bizarre for me. I pretty much worked from home the whole year. You had a good year as far as inside the cage. You had 2 wins recently. Just tell me what it was like looking back on it.
Oh man, I've gone through a lot of reflecting the past couple days, New Year and everything, and I was just at my recovery place. I was getting an ice bath and whatnot, and just reflecting. And 2020 started off horrible for me. I broke my orbital at the beginning, like December 27th of 2019, and I went into the new year. I celebrated the new year with like my whole face caved in. I had to get surgery. Literally today marks the anniversary of when I got surgery on the 7th. And so it started off rough, sitting back, not knowing if when I'd get back. I was scared. I was texting people like, hey, who do you know has had this? And, I worked really hard. I did everything I was supposed to do. I got back into the gym before the doctors even cleared me. Very thankful for my teammates like Brandon Roybal and everything, and Dustin Jacoby, who would work with me, not, beating the crap out of me, but letting me do some things. And then COVID hit, and I lost my job, and I got robbed. My car got broken into. So it started off sucky, but, I just kept pushing forward. And my coach, Marc Montoya, told me to just, stay on track, and I'll get my opportunity. And I worked really hard, and I finally got an opportunity. And I'm very happy and very thankful for how it played out. And I was able to turn it around and get another fight. And Lord willing, it came out honestly, you can't ask for a better outcome. I wanted to get one more in 2020, but, I couldn't. So I'm just happy, I started off not great, and 2019 was rough, but I was able to stay on course, and keep going.
Yeah. I mean, talk about all the perseverance that you had to go through, everything you've been through. When you look at that and you compare it to a fight inside the cage, I mean, obviously people don't really, I guess the casual fan doesn't really understand how much, the mental aspect of MMA plays into things. Do you feel like after everything you've been through outside of the cage, that's just going to make you that much more of a better focused fighter inside of the cage?
Yeah, because for me, how it works for me is that I got this mindset of like, I don't have that much time. Like, this could all be taken away from me tomorrow. I've had 2 injuries where I was going amazing. I was having the best sparring, best training of my life, and then boom, tragedy hit. So this can all be taken away at any moment. So my mindset anymore is to just go. I don't want to have any hesitation. I don't want to have any fear. And when things get tough, I mean, that's when I just get, even more tough. Like, I feel like I'm not going to break no matter what. There's nothing that's going to break me.
Yeah, I'm excited to see you step back in the cage here soon. Now, as far as outside of MMA and football, do you have any other hobbies? Like, did you get into any movies or Netflix show during 2020? I mean, I know a lot of people did.
Yeah. I mean, besides, football and MMA, I was huge growing up with baseball. I thought one day I was going to be the Pittsburgh Pirates shortstop. And then, I found football, and then I realized I like being more physical. But with Netflix and everything, everyone, I was on the Tiger King kick. Like, I saw that. That was pretty funny. I enjoyed that. I'm huge into It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's like my go-to. I can quote almost every episode. Parks and Rec, The Office, love all those. And I'm a huge like Marvel. I love those movies. I love Thanos and all that. So big fan of those movies.
Yeah, very cool. Now, training, at Factory X, man, like Marc Montoya, one of the best coaches in the game. Like, how do you feel you've evolved since you've been there?
Oh, I've evolved in every aspect. Um, with Marc, there's a couple times that when I was reflecting, Marc had to talk me off a ledge sometimes just because I was so nervous of, I thought I was missing out on everything because of my injuries. And he kept me saying, he told me to stay the course, keep focused, do what I can when I can. And as far as like my game is certainly evolved with my striking, because that's a huge reason I wanted to come out here is I wanted to be a better striker. I have the wrestling background, but with my body type, I'm not going to wrestle a bunch of people. Um, so coming out here, working with the likes of Chris Camozzi, Dustin Jacoby, like my striking has went a tremendous amount positive, and I'm so excited to show it in this next fight.
Was there one person when you moved out there that you got maybe a little starstruck by, that you saw, like maybe when you were a kid watching fighting, you were like, oh crap, that's so and so?
I still do to this day, even when I talk to him. Like, I try not to let him know about it, but Anthony Smith, like, I remember when my buddy back in Pittsburgh on his birthday, his mom bought us UFC tickets, and we went and watched the UFC card, and Chris Camozzi and Anthony Smith were on there. And from that moment, I was like, damn, that dude is cool. And I met him for the first time when I came out here, and like I've had multiple training sessions. I've hung with him outside the gym. Like, he's a very cool dude, and the way he talks, the way he thinks about life, his perspective on things, it's very admirable.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm a big fan of his as well. I got to tell you, when I lived in California, I was there from '08 to 2013, and I was standing outside of a Home Depot talking to a buddy of mine right outside of my car, and this black tinted Range Rover pulls up, and who pops out but Chuck Liddell. And I've always been a big
Oh shit.
fan. And I was just like, oh my God, I wanted to talk to him. And he like stared right at me. It looked like he was staring into my soul. And I froze. I didn't even say anything. He just kind of scared me how intimidated he was. Or he made me just look. It's funny when
It'd
you
be like that sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, when you look at the UFC middleweight division right now, obviously, I got to imagine that's your goal. Like, where do you feel you are right now? Like, if you were to go win this next fight and then you get a call up at some point soon, like, how do you feel you stack up with those guys right now?
I think the middleweight division is very exciting. It's very stacked. There's a lot of guys from LFA who recently just got signed to there, and like I feel like I'm right there. I feel like with that crop, those crop of guys, I was planning, when I was getting through my injuries, I was like, I want to fight this guy, I want to fight that guy, like, and then all that whole crop got taken to the UFC. So I feel like I'm gonna be in the next crop going up. So I'm definitely looking forward. I feel like I can definitely fit in very well and get a couple wins.
Right, no doubt. Now, you've been fighting for LFA, those recent two fights in 2020, quick finishes, man. You're getting them in and getting them out of there, lickety split. So, how important is that for you at this stage of your career? Not just to win, but to win impressively and get these finishes.
Oh, it's huge, like, and it goes back to I don't want to waste any more time. I'm done wasting time with injuries, with not believing in myself, with being hesitant. In a couple of my fights, you can see I'm hesitant, to pull the trigger sometimes. And that just went all out the window when I got injured because I don't want to wait anymore. So I want to go out. I want to be exciting. I want to finish the fight. And I have the gas tank to go the whole time. Like, I'm from bell to bell. I'm not going to break. I'm going to break you. Either I'm going to break you mentally, physically, or I'm going to get you out of there. That's my game plan.
What are the goals in 2021? Obviously, it starts with getting a win here right around the corner, but like, what do you hope to
Yeah.
accomplish here by the end of the year?
By the end of the year, I want to be in the UFC. That's definitely a goal of mine. It's something that I've sacrificed a lot. I've worked a lot for. If that doesn't happen, I want to be an LFA champion. I want to have that belt. Everyone who's held the belt beforehand, they're in the UFC now. So I feel like that's a good stepping stone. If it's a contender series fight, it's a contender series fight. I don't care how it happens. I just know and believe that I'll be there by the end of the year.
Okay, good enough. So LFA 98, January 29th, you're facing none other than Bruno Oliveira. He's 8-2. He's coming off a loss. He's got a lot of finished victories. So looking at this matchup, man, how do you feel it shakes out?
It's going to be a knockout, and it's going to be a knockout on my part. I definitely believe that my boxing and my pace and, my mentality right now, the way I'm clicking, I'm firing on all cylinders. You know, the way my training, my diet, and everything is going out here. I just feel like I'm gonna put too much of a pace on him, and if I don't knock him out, then I'm gonna drown him. I know it.
Mhm. Do you feel like this could be another round one finish for yourself, or do you feel like he's talented enough where he could get you into the second or maybe third round?
No, he's very talented. He's very talented. He's long, lanky, just like me. You know, I definitely feel like I have the speed advantage. You know, I'm gonna go for a first round knockout. That's always what I'm gonna try for. But if he makes it through the first round, good for him. Good for him. I'll get him in the second round. If I don't get him in the second round, I'm gonna drown him in the third round. You know, so I see it. It could happen fast. It could take all night. I'm down for either one.
Well, I know everyone's excited to see you climb back into the cage. LFA 98, January 29th. I appreciate the time, Josh. Before I let you go, if you want to plug any social media or any sponsors you want to thank, the floor is yours.
Yeah, on my social media, you can hit me up at Josh Fremd MMA on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all that. I want to give a huge shout out to one of my biggest sponsors, Eddie Holmes. Everyone there, you guys have been amazing. They have been giving me employment opportunities through college, and they just have some of the best, most detailed houses in Pittsburgh. So appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. And hey, man, thank you for having me on here. I really appreciate that.